Welcome to the lair of the Batty Boffin.
Hi there, Batty fans. Today we're going to be looking at fractions and particularly adding fractions. It's one of the classic things that people are always asking me about. So let's have a look at what to do. Let's start off with something really easy. Let's just have a nice simple fraction like 1/2 add another nice easy fraction like 1/3. 1/2 plus 1/3. Here they are in my little rainbow fractions. Here's a half and here's a third. Okay? And what we're doing is just adding them together. So, one of the things that people often say is, oh yeah, 1/2 plus 1/3. Well, that must be 2/5. But if we have a look at the rainbow fractions, we can see it's nothing like 2/5. Here's a diagram showing it. 1/2 plus 1/3 is certainly nothing like 2/5. So that's clearly not right. Question is, what is right? Well, the problem is the fact that you've got halves and thirds, and when you add them together, well, what do they make? They certainly don't make fifths, as we've seen. But if we think back to some of the other videos where we've done equivalent fractions and cancelling down, and if you don't know what those words mean, stop watching right now and go and watch some of the other videos that talk about equivalent fractions, because we're going to need them. If we think about these equivalent fractions, we remember that we can write halves and thirds in different ways. Okay? Another way of writing a half is 2/4. I think you're probably okay with that one there. Another way of writing it is 3/6. Another way of writing it would be 4/8. All of these are the same as a half, just written differently. There are also different ways of writing a third. I'm going to do this one in green, I think, just so we can see the difference in there. So here it is in green. And there are different ways of writing a third as well. We could write it as 2/6, or 3/9, or 4/12, and of course lots of other different ways of writing it. Have you spotted anything on there that'll help us? This one and this one. 1/2 is the same thing as 3/6. There they are. And here's the diagram. 1/2, 3/6. Yep, same thing. 1/3 is the same as 2/6. And they will add together very nicely. Here's the diagram. 1/2 is 3/6. 1/3 is 2/6. And when you add them together, you get 5/6. Easy peasy. So, what we're going to do is rewrite that as 3/6 plus 2/6, and the answer is 5/6. Please note, it's still sixths. They have not magically changed into 12ths. I see people do that sometimes. A pile of apples plus another pile of apples makes a bigger pile of apples. They're still apples. They have not changed into bananas. So we have the same bottom number and it's still the same bottom number. 3 of them plus 2 of them make 5 of them. Same things. So this is a technique called finding the common denominator, which is a posh maths way of saying same bottom number. So although it's called common denominator, you'll probably hear me more likely say find the same bottom number, because that's what people kind of say and everybody knows what that means. So just to recap, we turn our halves and our thirds into other things because we can't add halves and thirds directly. Halves will turn into anything in the 2 times table. Quarters, sixths, eighths, tenths, twelfths. Thirds will turn into anything in the 3 times table. 6ths, 9ths, 12ths, 15ths and so on. And sixths is in both lists. So we turn our half into sixths, and there's 3 of them. We turn our third into sixths, and there's 2 of them. All in all, it makes 5 of them. Okay, so I'm going to wipe down the board and then you're going to have a go at a few the same. See you in a minute. Right, here are a whole bunch for you to have a go at. Got some nice easy ones at the top up here in blue. So you're going to need to find your new bottom number, something that's in the 4 times table and in the 3 times table. So we'll just do the blue one for the moment, pause the video, see if you can work out what the new bottom number is and the new top numbers. So here's what we should have. For the bottom number, we need something that's in the 4 times table that's also in the 3 times table, so that quarters and thirds will turn into it. And that number is going to be 12. Quarters will turn into twelfths, and thirds will also turn into twelfths. How many twelfths is 1 quarter? Well, if you remember, we follow the rule of whatever you do to the bottom, you do the same to the top. The bottom number was times by 3, so the top number gets times by 3. 3 twelfths. Yep, that's 1 quarter. Over here, whatever you do to the bottom, you do the same to the top. The bottom number was times by 4. It will always be different for the 2 fractions. That one was times by 3, this one was times by 4. So we times the top by 4 as well. So we have 3 twelfths plus 4 twelfths, 7 twelfths. Did you get that? So we have 3 twelfths plus 4 twelfths, 7 twelfths. Okay, let's go for the red one now. We're going to need another new bottom number, something that's in the 5 times table and in the 4 times table. That's quite an easy one, you should be able to spot that. Once you've got your new bottom numbers, work out whatever you did to the bottom, you do the same to the top, get your new top numbers, and then just add them together to get the answer. Have a go with that one. Let's work through that together. Bottom number, I guess you know, is probably 20. That's quite an easy one. Which means the answer is also going to be in 20ths. The bottom number was times by 4, so we do the same to the top. The bottom number was times by 5, so we do the same to the top. Giving an answer of 9/20. Hope you got that. Now, on the green ones and the black ones here, it's not just 1 at the top, 1 quarter, 1/3. Here we've got 2/3. But exactly the same applies. You find your new bottom number, then to find the top numbers you say, whatever you did to the bottom, you do the same to the top. So, have a go with the green one, please. Let's go through that together. Bottom number is 15. Again, that's pretty easy. The bottom number was times by 5, so the top gets times by 5, giving you 10 on the top. Did you get 10? The bottom number was times by 3, so we do the same to the top, giving us a total of 13/15. Now the black one, slightly more stinky numbers down here. We've got 5s and 7s. So I'll just leave you. Have a go with that one. Here we go then. New bottom number, 35. Now for the top numbers, that 5 was times by 7, so we do the same to the top. I hope you know your 7 times table. That gives you a 14. And the bottom number was times by 5, so we do the same to the top, giving you a 15 there. Grand total, 29/35. That was a bit of a yucky fraction, isn't it? 29/35. Okay, hope you got those. Come back in the next video. We're going to be looking at not just adding, but taking away, which is pretty much exactly the same. We might throw the odd mixed number in there as well. See you next time, Batty fans.